Howdy, folks. Happy Friday. Thank God it's Friday. It's actually getting warm, and there's this yellow, orangish orb in the sky that gives off heat, Russ.
It never happens. Where have you seen that, Mike?
I don't know. I'm making it up. I'm bullshitting. Go ahead. Start us off with the pre-show.
I thought you were, I thought for a minute you were experiencing something. So let's talk about the NBA. Their playoffs are about to start, and they're going to have a play-in game. And you know what's funny? It's really got mixed emotion. People have mixed emotions about it. It's not the slam dunk it was for baseball fans, it seems.
Well, I think that first of all, the season in the NHL, and we'll talk about that later, and the season in the NBA. I mean, the NBA stuffed I think it was 72 games into the same window pretty much that the NHL did.
Right.
Real, I mean, I understand.
A contested all-star game.
Right. And the thing is, in reality, it should have been flip-flopped because the NHL actually needed the revenue more to get to games with fans in the stands than the NBA. The NBA had their TV contract. They played those 72 games strictly because of money and because of the network obligations that they had with ESPN and TNT. I think people are tired of regular season games with little or no consequence. I mean, I know.
Here's the weird part. So it's not just like one play-in game. It looks like there's going to be 4.
Yeah, it's a 7 through 10, 8 through 9 in each conference.
That's ridiculous. So in the East, as an example, it looks like the Celtics, the Hornets, the Pacers, and the Wizards are going to make it. And yeah, that's
Russ, get used to it.
The Bulls have a 0.7% chance.
Way too many.
Get used to it. This is what's going to happen in the NHL.
No, you can't it's way too many.
You can. Sure you can. It's extra revenue. It's extra. I think
it's the same thing we talked about the other day.
Yeah, I think we're going to get 4 versus 5 in each division.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen.
That would be brutal. I don't want that in each division. I don't mind having one play-in game. So you have one entity to show on TV.
8 versus 9?
No, best winning percentage. It's not 8 versus. It's best winning percentage from whatever division it is.
No, I'm saying if you go to
it could be any. It's never going to be 8 versus 9. No, it wouldn't be that.
Well, so I'm saying, say you go with conference playoffs, where the 2 divisions get the top 2 seeds, and then it goes 3 through 8, and then you have 8 versus 9 in a play-in game.
I guess you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen.
That's what we have to do.
For one game, not for 4.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, I don't
think the NBA. When I started this segment, I didn't realize it was that many games.
It's it's a 1-game playoff, or is it best of 4 or best of 3? What is it?
Best of 3. I think it's a best of 3.
I think the difference is, we talked about before. We don't think there should be a best of. It should just be a 1.
No, it definitely shouldn't be a best of.
Okay, I got some things to talk about. I also want to throw this out there real quick too, guys. So this morning I woke up to, rolled over in my bed and see my dog there, which our dogs sleep in bed with us, or something I completely said I never wanted when we got married. That was like a big thing. Nope, dogs should never go in bed. I lost that battle long ago.
There is a point where you lose the battle to the dog. Don't take it personally.
No, I haven't. So I roll over today, and my dog is lying there asleep, and in front of her is what looks to be a dead baby rabbit.
Oh my God!
In bed with me.
Which one? Stella? Did Stella?
So Stella's asleep, but in front of her nose is lying there what I think is a dead baby rabbit. So now one time we did see her eat a mouse outside. Just ate a mouse when she was a pup. Even younger than this. Like we had her like a month, and she went on a walk and ate a mouse.
Are corgis hunters?
They're wolves. I mean, they're just it's in all of them, right? So I grab some gloves. I grab the rabbit, and the rabbit's alive. It's stunned. I mean, it's really small.
Yeah.
So it's stunned and barely moving, but it's breathing.
You have to find the nest in your yard.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking that it was a little bit bigger than a nest. I know this from having hunted rabbit in my day as a child, and with like not hunted it, but just like always tried to catch one in a box. With
Kaya had one a couple weeks ago, and we got it back in the nest, and she was just licking it. So yeah, I get it.
So I think that Stella just saw this as a friend to bring into the house. So she didn't apparently eat it. So
well, I mean, heck, if you brought a friend into the house, that's a whole different situation. But she can get away with it.
Yeah,
right. We had a long story today about how bunnies are outdoor friends.
Russ, if Kaya jumped into the bed with you, she'd push you off the bed.
Yeah, she won't go up the stairs. Kaya is not a bed dog.
So I grabbed it with my son, and you know, we looked up, we found a place. We took it to the, because there was no nest, and I think it's big enough that this rabbit probably roamed away from its because we have a fenced in area for our dogs. So this rabbit had to have roamed away from the area because it probably went under the fence. Yeah, we could eat it. So we looked all over the place, couldn't find a nest for it. Took it to a place called the Ark, which is like a really cool animal rescue place. About 10 miles away. They were amazing. You know, we brought it there. They took it. They brought it in. They're going to give it some milk and nurse back health and let it go. It's a really nice place.
Did you get that hat there? Is that where you bought the hat?
No, this is my Hershey Bears hat. This is from
okay.
This is your vintage Hershey Bears hat. Yeah. So that was kind of fun. Did not
get a bowl of soup with that hat.
That was my morning. That was a fun morning.
You did a nice thing though. I would be legitimately shocked if I woke up next to that. Like, that would be a shock.
It is surprising because she has a lot of little stuffed animals.
Sure.
So my first instinct is, oh, that's just a stuffed animal. My second instinct
it starts moving. That's
a real thing. Yeah, it didn't move, and I thought it was dead. I thought it was dead. So it didn't move until we picked it up.
But it has stuffed animal blood, you know.
Yeah, it didn't bleed. It looks like it's probably okay. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. We're talking to the woman. He's like, these rabbits will go into shock, you know, at that time, but they'll go into shock and they won't move for a while. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm surprised the foxes didn't get it as well. And also underneath the hockey rink now is living a giant. This is what I call Bob the Badger.
You don't have a badger.
We don't have a badger. We have a
Jack has got a game preserve on his friggin' property. So
we have a groundhog, a really big groundhog living under the other side of the rink now. So the foxes are on one side, groundhogs are the other.
Does the groundhog play for the Sabres?
I know, it's really funny. We do have badgers in our neighborhood though. We've seen them.
Wisconsin?
No, not they. Like, you know, badgers on, you know, North American badgers look a lot.
Yeah, they look different.
And they're not as big as, like, you know, what you think about, like the real, like, badgers from
right.
But anyway, that's the story. So we have that. It was fun. Groundhogs are cool. Groundhogs are fun. So that was a cool little story, morning story I had here.
Right.
Our house is like ridiculous. And all this, and we're going down to the Panther Preserve next week to do that, and we'll have more information about that when we do it. But it's gonna be fun too. So anyway, here we go.
Your camera,
so you can go visit.
Oh yeah, we're putting up 3 more cameras.
No, but wait, why would you put up more when you know they're going to take them down?
Well, no, we have learned a lot since then. So
you increase the odds.
Please enlighten us, because I need to know.
So there's a group called the Path of the Panthers. The group called the Path of the Panthers. There's actually the latest National Geographic. There's an article on the Florida panther in there, and it's you know, and how it's battling for extinction and, you know, trying to be extinct. So the group in there is called Path of the Panther. I managed to make friends with those guys and talk to them, and then they also. My son's going to be working with Florida Panther hockey team and different things like that to help get the, you know, to do some conservation for the Florida Panther. So Path of the Panther, now they told us what we need to do to put our cameras up, and they're sending us a sticker that goes on there that says this camera is, you know, property of Path of the Panther. So we're actually going to be working with them now and sharing all of our information with them that we get.
How do you become Panther friends? Do you trade Panther pictures? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, so far it's just like, you know, we found. I mean, they have like 30 trail cameras out there, right?
He gets on an email list with Bill Lindsay.
Right. They've got like 30 trail cams out there. We had one out, and they say they might get a panther like every month on one of them. We had one out for a week and a half and got 2 panthers on the one we had out there before. But then it was taken down by Florida Wildlife.
If you get a panther, do you swipe left or swipe right?
We always swipe right on a panther. They're amazing. Anyway. Yes. So
all right, this told me a lot. Okay.
We learned a lot today. That's the nature portion of the show, guys. Let's get going into the regular hockey portion. Ready? Here we go. Today is the 14th. 1 week from today, I'll be leaving. That's right. Okay, here we go. Hello, Hockey World. It is Friday, May 14th, 2021.
I'm Michael Agello, and I always swipe left on a panther and swipe right on a cougar.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
Yeah, you know that show Cougar Town should have been called Panther Town. And I'm actually watching Hockey Buzz on HockeyBuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. It's the podcast that comes every Monday through Friday to fill you in on the comings and goings in the hockey world that was smoothly transitioned to. Today we're going to talk about 2 other division predictions we have to do. And I think we should just launch right into that because we did our East yesterday. And also I wanted to throw out something too that's on the website right now. So my blog, the reason I'm going up there late, I'm doing a thing called I Know More Than Eck. Okay, so the concept here is how many of you out there think you can be better at predicting playoffs than I am? And if you are better, okay, you guys think that. So I'm doing a point system. So in the comments section of my latest blog, list your first round, picks, the team that you think will win, and by how many and how many games they'll win, and then we'll have a scoring. I put a scoring system in there. And I'm going to do it with you guys too. That we have you get 5 points if you pick the right team. You get 5 points if you pick the right amount of games. 4 points if you're 1 game off. 3 points if you're 2 games off. That kind of thing. So it's all in there as to how they keep scoring. We'll see who is actually the best at predicting out there.
What's the prize? Is there a prize?
If you win this thing,
cookies,
you'll win my Gilles Graton mask.
Wow, that's good.
Which is a nice thing. It's a really nice mask, and it's
something chopped out of it.
Yeah, no, it's got this. Sorry, don't eat that. Here you
go. It's the rabbit.
No. My little clipper. So this is a mask. This is funny.
This is an iguana egg.
My top thing fell off the little plastic bags on there. But anyway, this is actually a mask you can actually wear if you're stupid enough to wear a mask. But yeah, or to play it. I mean, this is actually a fully fiberglass mask. This is actually the real deal. It comes with padding that you can put in there and stuff like that. So this is and then Gilles Graton, remember, was a Rangers goalie
and wanted to play naked.
He was pretty much a nut, right?
He wanted to play naked. Like he really tried. He got tackled in the locker room.
He's absolutely insane, correct? Like everything from every.
Yes.
Apparently, he did growl and things like that. Like this is his.
Oh no, he was insane.
Yeah, it was the lion. It was good. So anyway, he played for the Toronto Toros as well. I noticed.
The man's nuts. Grab him.
He probably played with Pat Hickey at the time because he was on the Toros too.
So I was said, yeah. So my buddy who paints those masks over in Europe sent me 2 of them. So I'm going to give you guys one of them. So the one who gets the most points at the end of the whole thing. So this, of course, is the first round is now, and we'll keep going. And then if you get,
I just answer the chat room. We all stink at predicting. Sometimes we're better than others.
It's for everybody fun. Rips me all the time. So since I'm usually better than you guys,
no wagering.
Right.
I do love how you looked it up for last year, though. That
I did.
You had that much time in your day that you looked it up from last year.
Well, yeah. After all the heat I take in this place, yes, for sure, I'll look at. So, so we're gonna do that. And if you here's the other 2 prizes. Ready for this? You're gonna like the prizes. So there's gonna be 5. There's gonna be 5 season ticket prizes for HockeyBuzz.com. So you get all that stuff. There's for the next 5 people. And then if you get, but here's the big prize. If you get better than me, if you score higher than me, meaning that you're more than Eck because. Because I'm all the reasons people tell me that I suck. Usually, I'm not Canadian. But anyway, if you get more than me, you'll I'm going to be posting a blog where you can write anything you want to me. Say anything you want to without getting banned. If you get more than me for one blog comment section. One blog comment section you can have fun with. So anyway, that's the prize.
Oh,
that's extremely dangerous.
I know. It is. That's how confident I am. That I'm better than everybody.
Mike and Bill Meltzer just bristled at that.
Yeah, I thank Zach for the compliment. Unfortunately, I am not.
Mike is not Canadian,
but I'm as close to a Canadian as an American can be. I was born 8 miles from the Canadian border, and I am in Canada as much as I possibly can, and I cover the Leafs. So there you go.
But he doesn't want socialized medicine, so that's what he does.
He's a Republican, so there. No, but yeah. So.
Oh, by the way, if we're going to get political for a second, Justin Trudeau posted on Instagram yesterday a cheeky comment about the Leafs in the playoffs.
Did he?
Because apparently he's a Habs fan.
Oh,
I just suggest to all Leaf fans in any of the provinces of Canada to remember that when you vote for your representative, and just take that in. They don't vote like us. They're not voting strictly for Trudeau. They're voting for Liberal, Conservative, NDP. So I would remember that when you vote the next time in your provincial election. Just store that in your mind, folks.
I don't think I've ever not
without Trump supporters.
Hold on. I was just gonna say I don't think I've ever not voted for somebody because they disagreed with the team that I root for. I have to say I never did that.
That's probably it's interesting, like the things that people. I mean, I get it all the time, and you guys do too, I'm sure. I think you guys probably get it as well. Like that this not being Canadian thing when you're a hockey writer.
Well, no, actually, I haven't. I've actually
I've gotten it a lot.
I think because I've been doing it a long time, I feel like if there was a point where there was an acceptance that I got, and so I haven't heard it in years, and I'm thankful for it. Really,
yeah. I mean, that's good.
And if anybody would pick up on that act, it would be me, because being an American covering the Leafs.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you're. I mean, I've never. I guess I just have more general haters than you guys.
That's what it is.
No, I've never once had a reporter treat me any different.
I've never had it with reporters. I'm just talking about. No, not talking about reporters. That's been actually not never. I can say that. And in the Olympics, I did get a little bit of that one time, but yeah.
But I've always been treated with great respect whenever I've covered the Leafs up in Toronto, and never felt any kind of anti-American situation. So it's been
I never did either.
Yeah.
Good. You guys are fortunate. That's good. All right, so let's move into the playoff predicting now, because we got a lot of fun things to get into.
Right,
let's start with the Central. Let's start with the Central, because I think this is my favorite division for the playoffs this year. I think this is just I mean, it's hard to say, like the North is going to be amazing too, but the Central, I mean, they're all really good. The East is my least favorite, honestly, which is rare because usually that's the division that I do like and follow the most. Okay, so here we go. I'm not eating cereal, by the way.
With macaroni and cheese.
No. That's that would be fried rice. And I'm drinking chocolate milk because I need more calcium. All right, so here we go. All right, so let's go to the Central. Central, we have this. The two great
for strong bones and teeth.
Let's start with Carolina and Nashville. Okay, this series, and since you made me go first, and I think I made Russ go first once. Let's start with you, Mike. We'll start with you.
Okay, Carolina, Nashville. Carolina is much better up front. I think defense, even though Nashville has Yossi and Ekholm and Ellis, I think they're better on defense. And even though Nashville's goaltending is not great, the key to the series for me is the questions in goal for Carolina. They're more than likely going to start Mrazek. If Mrazek fails, as he usually does in the playoffs, then their plan B is Nedeljkovic. And that's where my questions come in, because it's an unknown commodity. He could be very good, but he's a young goaltender. He could falter. So as much as I think that Carolina has had a really good regular season and they beat Tampa and Florida to win the Central, I still think they have some question marks. So Nashville playing well down the stretch, and I think they're going to make it tougher than a lot of people think. But I think in the end, Carolina will win. I'm going Carolina in 7 games.
Okay, that's interesting. I like that. I mean, I think I like the Predators are getting that kind of respect, because besides the last 2 games, they really got beaten up on. What do you think, Russ?
Yeah,
I had the same issue with Mike and net, but I have a bigger issue in net for Nashville. I really. Andrei Svechnikov has not had a great year for Andrei Svechnikov. It's actually the worst shooting percentage of his career. Yeah. He does usually play well in the playoffs, though, and they're going to need his scoring, because I really feel like Carolina, at times, their scoring dries up. They do have great defense, so their defense does help their goaltending. And in the end, I do think they're going to just beat Nashville, I think, because of that defense. But I'm going to give them 6 games. I think it's going to be in 6. Because I think Nashville is carrying some momentum in here and will make life a little miserable for Carolina, but not enough.
All right. Yeah, to me, I'm looking at this, and so far we've agreed on all the predictions we made yesterday, which is kind of, you always say I'm always the counter guy, and it's hard for me to
Well, you disappointed us with the Penguins, but no, you didn't disappoint us with the Penguins.
No,
that's true. I actually did pick the Islanders. That's right.
Mr. Counterintuitive lives.
Yeah, this is.
And actually, just so you know, when we did off the post, we predicted that you would pick against the Penguins before you actually picked.
I like the predictions of the prediction shows. Those are good. We got to do predictions of prediction shows.
Mike missed it, though. Mike had you in 5, and I said I thought 6, and then you went 7, but you still went against the Penguins.
Still went against the Penguins. I like it. All right, cool. All right. For this series, I would have said a week ago that this was Carolina in 5, like no questions asked. I felt like this was their series, and I felt like the Predators had no prayer against them because they had played so poorly against them, honestly, that it really didn't seem like that they could have a prayer against them. However, the more I watched this series, the more when I watched those 2 games, I was really surprised by how well Nashville could handle them. And Johansson and Duchesne picked it up a little bit. If they pick it up, the Predators are a different team. That's the big thing. It all comes down to that. Do I trust Johansson and Duchesne to be able to pick it up enough for them to win the series? That's really the question. And I don't trust them enough. No. So I'm going Carolina in 7. But I really deeply want to go Nashville in this series. And I think that Nashville could win the series. It's one of those series I'll say, and I've said this before about this, and like Carolina in 7 is my pick. Okay. But I've said before that I sometimes feel like a series is like Nashville in 5 or Carolina in 7. That's what I feel like in this series.
I feel like the funny thing with me is I feel like if this goes to 7, Nashville's going to win it.
Yeah,
that's why I think Carolina's goaltending is going to choke.
That's interesting. I mean, neither team is super strong in goal. No. And both that's really the issue with.
Well, do we have a feel whether it's going to be Saros or whether it's going to be Rene? Because
it's going to be Saros.
Saros down the stretch. So
yeah, it's going to be Saros for sure. But I do have that feeling. This does feel like one of those series that, like, if Nashville wins the first game or first 2 games, it's a 5-game series and it's over. But otherwise, Nashville won't win in 6 or 7. Nashville will have to win by like just steamrolling them and getting on this roll early, where they have to get on this roll and then beat them in like 4 or 5
that's
games.
Probably the way it should happen. But if for some reason it starts getting into 6 and 7, it does. If it gets to 7, I really do worry about Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, I'm saying Carolina and 7. We'll see. That's a good one. All right. So now the other one, Florida Tampa series. This one, I guess, will be Russ's turn to go first, maybe.
Okay. Florida has impressed this year. I don't know if they have Stanley Cup playoff goaltending. It worked for the regular season. Their defense is better. Guys like Barkov have had just a tremendous year. Huberdeau's had a really good year. I like, Ekblad rebounding the way he has. And, honestly, they've done a good job, but I think when the games are going to get harder now, there are guys that I don't necessarily trust on Florida's defense with turnovers, Keith Yandel being that main guy. And I've seen him do it in postseason. Tampa's got a lot of guys. I mean, there's so many guys, their taxi squad. Some of these guys would be starting on other teams like Ross Colton. I don't know if he's going to start on the 4th line or not, but he's come in and really done a nice job for them for weeks. But still, he may, be on the outside looking in, and they have a lot of depth in a lot of different positions, and they have Vasilevsky. And just on the strength of Vasilevsky, that is enough for me to take Tampa, and I'll take them in 7 because I do think this will be a very physical series. I hear they're going to have 9,000 fans in Florida. I hope that they do. That would be awesome.
Yeah, and we'll go up to today or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, all of that looks good. So, but I'm going to go Tampa in 7.
Tampa in 7. All right, Mike. Where should I go second on this one? I'll go second on this one.
Yeah, you go.
We'll put you in the middle all the time. Can Tampa just turn it on? Like, Tampa obviously is the most talented team in this division by a lot. Like, in my mind, if they're going on all cylinders, they've got the best goalie in the division by far. Like, I think that the goaltending in this division, I mean, and Dredger, whatever you know, has been really good.
We'll never know how to pronounce his name, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but anyway, he's been very good. Is he going to be the guy they go with the whole time? I wonder.
He's going to go game 1.
He's going to go game 1. But then if you go to Bobrovsky is the goalie who swept Tampa with Columbus a little while ago. Is there anything to that? In the back of the mind, because is there possible that he has something on him? I don't think so.
I don't think Quenneville likes him. I shouldn't say it doesn't like him. I don't think he trusts him.
Yeah. I don't think he trusts him either. I mean, to me, that when this plays out now, that Vasilevsky has been struggling lately. If he gets it back up, I mean, maybe the reality is, that Tampa hasn't been interested in playing until the playoffs. But they're going to be very fired up when all these players get back, and they're going to
have them fired up.
Yeah, they'll be fired up. So, I do think, however, though, that there's just something about Florida this year. And, as much as I want to go Tampa in 7, I'm going Florida in 7 on this one. So I'm taking Florida. I think Florida will take this one. I think it'll be a hell of a series. It'll be a beat me up, bang me down series type thing. So I really am looking forward to it. It's going to be fantastic. I'm really glad they're starting this one on Sunday, so we get a chance to watch it this weekend.
So who's the one guy, Eck, when they show the veteran, the old timer in the crowd, not Bill Lindsay because he's going to be working on TV, but when they, they show like an alumni in the crowd, is it going to be Ed Jovanovski?
Brian Scrudland.
No,
he's kind of the guy that you think of, right? Like to me, I think of Ed Jovanovski or John Van.
I think it'll be Jovo. That's who I think it'll be.
How about John Van Beesbrook? I like that one.
Cop.
I don't know. He's so busy with USA Hockey. I don't think he'll have the time.
Yeah, the Jovo does. He works. I think he actually works on the broadcast team for the Florida Panthers.
Does he? Okay.
I think so.
How about Robert Svela?
How about Pavel Bure?
That's an interesting one.
Valerie's down there. I think he lives there.
That would be a funny one. I like Pavel. He definitely is probably the most dynamic player they've ever had.
Someone asked me, will Hulk Hogan heck, last show someone asked me if Hulk Hogan will show up. He only showed up to the Stanley Cup in 2003 because his daughter Brooke was doing the anthem. I got an interview with him, and he basically told me that in the interview. He goes, listen, the reason I'm here is to support my daughter Brooke, who's doing the anthem, and that's why I'm here, and I'm going to, root for the Lightning, but he wouldn't be there otherwise.
Right.
I don't expect to see him.
That's really interesting. I hope to go to Game 3 of this one on Saturday night.
Okay.
So let's move now to the West because Mike. I'm sorry, Mike.
Mike is chance.
I'm very sorry. Very sorry, Mike. What do you got?
Well, okay. First of all, I think this is going to be probably the most physical of the first round series. Maybe Toronto, Montreal. If Montreal, thinks that they can win that way, they'll try that. And Toronto's power play isn't effective. But I think this one could be based on what we saw in the last few games at the end of the regular season. I think that what you brought up, Eck, in terms of can these guys just show up and turn it on is a big aspect of Tampa. It's, Stamkos coming back after a month, Kucherov coming back through the entire year, Hedman playing injured. I mean, there were questions being asked about, whether he needs surgery or what, and he didn't want to answer any of these questions. And all that does is bring us back to a couple of years ago when he was playing hurt in that Columbus series and how their defense wasn't able to really handle anything without him being a force. All that being said, I mean, Florida has done the better than I think anybody expected. The hodgepodge that Zito pulled with bringing in the Wenbergs and acquiring Verhaeghe via free agency and Duclair and all, he did a fantastic job and getting to the point that they got right here with Dredger playing more than Bobrovsky is unbelievable. That being said, I don't know how this team wins without Ekblad. They've won down the stretch without him, but this is the playoffs where Ekblad normally would play 26, 27 minutes, and you don't have – what are you going to have, Gustav Forsling play 26 or 27 minutes? It doesn't work.
No, he could be back at the end of next month, which is really –
And you're not going to give Yandel that many minutes because he's just too much of a risk at that point.
If they get in the third round, there's rumors that Ekblad could return.
Right, but we're talking about this series. Mm-hmm. I don't think they get by this series.
I don't know if he'll be in this series.
It won't be.
True.
Yeah, I mean, Mackenzie Weegar's had a great season. They got Montour, but their defense is just not good enough without Ekblad. I don't know whether they can keep up scoring-wise with Tampa. So I'm going to go Tampa in 7. It's going to be a hard-fought series, but I think I'm going to go Tampa in 7.
I like it. It's hard not to go with Tampa. It really is. I'm sorry, I just ate something. I apologize for not.
Yeah, he's going to miss this series. Ekblad. But it doesn't mean he won't be in the playoffs. He had a good year, too. It's a shame.
Yeah, he had a really good year.
If they make the Stanley Cup final, he might be there.
Yeah.
Excellent. I apologize. I was at the doctor's. I never got a chance to eat today, so I apologize. Anyway, okay, so moving on. Let's move on to the next. We'll go out west now, and now we have our matchups out there. So starting off with Colorado and St. Louis. I guess I have to go first on this one. This is my turn.
Well, go ahead and eat. I'll
go first. I'm going to go first. The Avalanche have had a little bit of a struggle lately, and that does scare me a little bit. McKinnon's been struggling to a bit recently, and he's been hurt. He's been playing off his game. Goaltending wise, they're not as they should be fine. They've had but they've also had injuries there too. Like I was shocked the other night that Johansson played in that major game for them. Do we know is Grubauer going to be able to play in the playoffs? Is it going to be okay?
I haven't heard that he's not.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. I mean, why did they play Johansson in that really important? You know, I mean, that was so strange.
They wanted to give Grubauer rest, and Dubnyk is not ready.
Right. Dubnyk is the one that was coming off the COVID list. I don't know when he's going to be off.
Or did they not care about winning that game? And did they want to not play St. Louis? Like it was very strange to me that they, you know, I mean, they obviously.
No, I think it had to do with what Mike said. Honestly.
Okay.
Back to according to somebody in the chat. Goalie FP.
Yeah. So all right. So to me, I do think though that Colorado is going to be too much for St. Louis in this series. I think even though I think the Blues are going to be a hard out because they are playoff ready. O'Reilly has been already talking up some stuff apparently and saying, you know, he thinks they're going to win that series.
Well, the love with O'Reilly and his former franchise just, you know, courses through his
mind. No, this is there's a lot of feelings there, right? So,
and not all of them good.
He knows how to rub people the wrong way. Let's say that.
Yeah, not many of them good at all. So, to me, I really think that this is but I still think this is Colorado in 6. That's my thing. I think this Colorado takes the series in 6. I think they're just too good and they've got too much talent. I mean, they're crazy up and down the lineup. We saw this year. They haven't had, you know, I mean, I think they got some benefit from being in like a race to a bit where they had to actually keep playing hard. But yeah, this is it. I think they're gonna be solid. So that's mine. Mike, you can go second on this one.
St. Louis. I mean, it was tough for them to get into the playoffs. They beat a fading Arizona team for 4th place. They got their act together late in the season with Hoffman and Tarasenko scoring.
Yep.
Really, it's sort of been a hodgepodge year for them. Inconsistent goaltending, inconsistent defense. I heard this morning that of the 16 teams in the playoffs, they're the ones who have given up the most goals against, which is hard to fathom when you consider the team that won the cup a couple years ago was a really good defensive club.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a physical series, and I think that's the only way St. Louis can really remain competitive.
Yeah,
I think that there's just too much talent with Colorado there. It's 3 lines deep. It's 2 defense pairs deep. The only thing that could really undercut them is if Grubauer is hurt or sick or something like that, then it could extend the series. But I don't think I had Colorado in 5.
5. Okay, it makes sense when you talk about like there's just so much offense with Colorado and St. Louis's defense being so weak. That is definitely the mismatch in the series. I agree with you 100%. Russ?
Yeah, and I think the other mismatch is speed. I don't think St. Louis is as fast as Colorado. And most teams aren't as fast as Colorado. Colorado could bring in someone like Alex Newhook if they want and add something. So they have young guys that they could bring in, which they might if they just need to, if they have injuries, basically. But St. Louis, look, I think St. Louis did well getting into the playoffs. They do have players that could scare you. If Tarasenko gets hot, that's always worrisome. Bennington could get hot. So I'm going to say Colorado in 6 just because of that experience that St. Louis has. But I just don't know. I can't find a way for St. Louis to win this.
Yeah, neither can I. I agree with that 100%. All right, so let's move on to the final, which I think is the other, maybe to me, besides Florida and Tampa, this is the other series that I just can't wait to watch. And that would be the Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights. This is actually funny because the Vegas Golden Knights have a winning record. I think again, the way I read it, they have a winning record against everybody basically in the NHL, except for the Minnesota Wild in their history. The Wild have had their numbers. This is the one team that actually has their numbers. So, what are your thoughts, Russ? You start with this one.
Yeah, this one, I still don't love Vegas's defense, and clearly their power play has moments. They don't have a great point guy there, but they still manage to work it through. They've got the Jennings and net. We know their goaltending is terrific, and I honestly think that's something that's a big edge because even if one of them were to get hurt or Fleury just doesn't look right, they could bring in Leonard. It's not like Kakkonen's bad, but he has no playoff experience. So if that were to happen to Minnesota, that's a big deal. Ryan Suter is 36 years old.
Yeah.
While he logs a lot of minutes, he is not as fast as he used to be. And I don't even think that defense core is as fast as they could be. So that kind of favors Vegas in the sense that they play more physical and they can slow things down against this team, I think. And I think that's ultimately the biggest problem for Minnesota. So I'm going to go Vegas in 5.
Vegas in 5. All right. Mike?
Well, I think Vegas would have rather played St. Louis in the first round than Minnesota, because Minnesota is going to be a much tougher out.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Russ that, the goaltending advantage is, really stark when it comes to this series. I mean, not to say, Talbot is an experienced goaltender. Kakinen had a pretty good year, but you've got two number ones in Fleury and Leonard, and they give you a lot of flexibility. I also think getting Pietrangelo back and having Theodore on defense, Martinez as well, that Vegas
better than it used to be.
A lot better. I think they're much better than they were last year, and they've had remarkable consistency up front with Pacioretty and Stone, and their forwards. So I'm not taking anything away from Minnesota. I think they've been dynamic this year. Kaprizov is going to win the Calder.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
They've had some good performances out of guys like Eriksson, Ek, and Greenway. So I'm not taking away from the season, but I just think they're outclassed by Vegas. I have Vegas in 6.
Vegas in 6. So there's always got to be an upset, a big upset. And is this a big upset if Minnesota wins this? I think it kind of is, because I think that, Vegas is.
Oh yeah, it's a massive upset, because there are people that think Vegas will make it to the Cup.
Right, and Vegas and Colorado, we're basically tied for the President's Trophy. I mean, they're both really top-notch teams. So
the problem that I have with Vegas is, yes, Theodore is excellent, and adding Pietrangelo was massive, but the group as a whole still isn't a great defensive group.
It's true, they really aren't. No, I agree. They really
they just patched it up well enough. Yeah.
I agree with that. So like I said before, the Wild in their history against the Vegas Golden Knights are 11-2-3. That's an amazing thing, because Vegas has not, like I said, Vegas I think has like a winning record against almost everybody else in the league. But to be Minnesota to be 11-2-3 in that, and this year, they won. As I'm looking at here, 1, 2, 3, 4. They won 5 of the last 6 against. So Minnesota won 5 of the last 6 games against Vegas. Vegas only winning the last one in the shootout. So,
all right, so now we have to make a bet. Who is Vegas going to have to turn that stupid horn that they do?
Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton almost died doing it. They're not going to do that again. Wayne Newton looked like he was going to pass out any minute doing that.
John Gruden.
Isn't there like a rock band playing? Isn't there like a rock band that's playing in Vegas right now that's really surprising, like Green Day or something like that? Somebody like
no, it's not Green Day. It could be Aerosmith. They had a thing there.
I thought there was a rock band, that was doing like the residency in Vegas right now.
Maybe Celine Dion cranks it.
Well, you got to go one, Mike. Who's your one?
Gruden.
I'm going to go David Copperfield. Go ahead. Act who you going with?
I'm going to go with one of the Tigers from that. Yeah, one of the Tigers from that Tiger show.
Wait. Not Siegfried and Roy.
Yeah, one of Siegfried and Roy's Tigers.
Didn't one of them die?
One of them is dead. No, you have to have a person.
Okay, a person.
Tigers.
All right, how about what was the guy that retired? That
can't be Randy Quaid Funky, because the minute he US, he gets arrested.
Engelland, the former player Engelland.
Brian Engelland?
Yeah. The guy who played, who was from Vegas, who played for them.
Eric Engelland.
Yeah, the guy who's from
Derek Engelland. Okay.
Yeah, the guy who played their first.
I was thinking Brian Engblom. Sorry, yeah, Derek
Engelland. The guy who played for him. He's retired now.
England, who's Freddy Krueger.
He's retired now from them. But yeah, I think so. So for me, I'm going Minnesota in 6, and it's kind of like I think this is going to be like, I picked Vegas not to make the playoffs this year. I was really far off on that one. Obviously, I thought that there would be a fallback, and there wasn't.
I forgot that one, so we just let that go.
That's a good one. I definitely felt like that at some point Vegas, was going to come back to reality, and they just got better. And whoever's in goal for them matters a lot to me. I obviously think that they're both good goalies, but I think that Fleury is the guy I went in the tough situation.
Yeah, I think everybody would agree with that.
And I guess they're going to go with that. I mean, last year they didn't, and I think it cost them. So we'll see what they do this year, but see if they give Fleury the net in the big games. But Fleury's still looks phenomenal. Minnesota though attacks. They love to attack. They kept Vegas off the board a lot this year.
Kaprizov could make a difference in the series, because he could get around their defense and around the net. He has to unnerve Fleury. Like, you could unnerve Fleury, but it takes a while. And the only way to do it is really to be in his kitchen and to score a few goals. then you could sort of get Fleury to flip out a little. It hasn't happened in a while, though.
Yeah.
Just because I know we're done with the.
Go ahead, Mike, go.
No, do you? I ask you a trivia question. Do you know what today is the 11th anniversary of?
Well, it's something heinous because you only focus on the negative. So it's something that's bad for somebody.
Well, it's not heinous for Eck because
see.
Today is the anniversary of the Flyers' Game 7 victory coming back.
The Bruins, I saw that earlier.
Oh man, great!
Yeah, we were all at that one.
I was not there.
You weren't?
No. We had a show. I had a show that night.
I was there.
It was fun though because we did this before we went on.
Gagne was on that. Was big in that game, wasn't it?
So there was a.
I remember
an opening
him
act
being
for
on
us.
the panel.
There's an opening act for us. We were in Philly playing a show, and there's an opening act, and so we're back in the. I brought my I had my Sling box hooked up to my computer. Back then, it was harder to stream games, but we could stream it. So I'm streaming the game in the locker room, the dressing room. And then they fell down early in that game. If you remember, they fell down like 2 or 3-0 in that game early on to Boston. And we went out on stage and sang a 2.5-hour show. Came back in thinking the whole time, it's like, man, that kind of sucks. They came all the way back, and now they're gonna get killed in Game 7. Came back in, and when we got back in between the show and the encore, we saw that they had just won. We got to see like the game-winning goal, I think it was. So it was a really fun night. And then we went to Philly, and I was with my wife. We were staying in Philly, so we went, and Philly was hopping. It was a fun night to be around in Philly because everyone was fired up.
Yeah, that was a big deal. I mean, I was a big Gagne fan just because of the way
Didn't Boston go up 3-0 in that game? And
They did. That's what happened.
It was 3-0 in the series, 3-0 in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at, it's funny. I went and visited a Remparts game once and covered it, and Gagne has his jersey up there, and his numbers retired, and we had 120 points in 61 games, 50 goals in his last season there. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Okay, we've talked off and on about the American Hockey League this year and how it's just been a brutal season for them. Russ, we talked about the goaltending is ECHL caliber because of the taxi squads, and the season has been, I think, less than 40 games for.
And the Canucks have had all kinds of trouble. Like they had players stuck on the taxi squad because they ran out of recalls, and apparently they're splitting. Is St. Louis in Utica too?
No, they're moving. Vancouver's moving their team to Abbotsford.
And this year, right now, they're split with St. So Michael DiPietro apparently couldn't even get a start recently because they were going with St. Louis's goallie. Right. Just really, I feel bad for the Canucks prospects right now. They're really
here's the ultimate dysfunction, and I hate to take a cue from our favorite agent Alan Walsh, but the AHL's Pacific Division is having a playoff while the rest of the American Hockey League is not. Yeah, according to Walsh, the players voted 133-8 against having a playoff tournament in the Pacific, and the AHL is still going ahead with the tournament. I don't understand why.
I get why the players said no. The players said no because they're making much less money than they normally would be. They took like, I don't know, something like $30,000 or something, right? 39,000.
Yeah.
Rent is ridiculously expensive there. And so they have to double and triple up in places that they're in just to be able to play. So now they're going to be paying more rent just to be paying in these games that they really can't afford to be playing in. And so that's why some players don't want to play.
And the financial situation is so bad in terms of what you just said that I think we remember a couple weeks ago, Jason Spezza passed the hat around the Leaf locker.
Yeah, that was really something.
So they pooled money together to give to some of these players because the rent in Toronto is ridiculous. So I mean, honestly,
is there any chance that they're going to be able to get any fans into some of these games in the U.S. at least?
Maybe
California mostly. I don't think so.
Like California's doing pretty well. I mean, yesterday, they came out with this thing that you don't need to wear masks inside in most situations.
If you're vaccinated, but the problem is, how are they going to check everybody for every place?
First thing I thought
so many people are going to falsify documents just to have them.
Yeah, that is kind of a disaster.
I don't know how they're going to do that. Now, I will tell you this, Ek, doing a little more research. So they showed on the Islander breakdown, vaccinated, not vaccinated, right? And immediately, even though it's mostly even on the sheet, it isn't even, because if I have this right, the vaccinated people will be watching the Islanders in their end twice, where the non-vaccinated will only be watching them in their end once. So it's not even.
Really? They did that?
Well, yeah, because it's split in half.
It's so funny though. What a weird way to do it though. Like, why would you split it in half?
I think they split it in half, saying, "Well, it's fair," but then you have to remember it's like there's still 2 times in one of the ends.
It's called the Islanders Incentive Program.
That's so funny. Yeah, you want to see the Islanders shoot twice? Get vaccinated. That's hilarious.
Okay, so
why not split it in the middle like the
Well, it is split in the middle, but
no, but split the other way in the middle. Like, so you have like half, like this side. Like,
yes, you would have to do it like that. They didn't do it.
But remember, they're probably not putting fans behind the benches because the benches.
No, actually, it was grayed out. I looked at that. It's grayed out right above the benches.
Right.
Okay.
So they're not putting them there.
Yeah, because they want to keep the airflow and they don't last there. So, okay, let's just touch on this. Russ, the New York Rangers have been granted permission to speak to Gerard Gallant.
Yeah, they'll speak to him. I mean, let me ask you this. Here's a scenario. Let's say Chris Drury really likes Gallant and goes to James Dolan and says, I really like Gerard Gallant. And then Glenn Sader says, yeah, I still kind of want Torts. Who is James Dolan going to go with at that point, Ek?
That's a good question. Obviously, Torts.
So, I mean, it's tough to put Gallant up against Torts. Like, I'll give you somebody who has 0% chance, and that's Bob Hartley. Glenn Sader used to beat Bob Hartley all the time as a coach. There's no way he's going to sign off as him being a coach for the Rangers. There's no way he's going to even be positive about it. And I can't. So I think Hartley has 0%. I think they're doing him a favor because he just won in the KHL. So maybe he gets a chance to do more interviews. I think Gallant has a little bit of a shot. I know fans want him. I get it. But something happened with Gallant in Vegas that we don't know about. And in the end, you can't have that with a New York coach. Look what happened with the Mets and Carlos Beltran. He didn't even get to start his tenure there because of all the rooting around by the media. They found stuff out and they were like, okay, Carlos Beltran had to just step down because there were problems with him.
Right.
You know, so I don't know what it is with Gerard Gallant. None of us know. He is a very good coach.
It feels like I said the other day, like to Tom, it just feels like there's something. And I don't know, I have no idea. I have no idea what it is. But because he's done nothing but win. What he did
controversial for the Rangers. He squirted a fan with a water bottle early in his tenure, and he got past that in New York. So he's not too controversial, trust me.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I agree. I really do agree. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for today. We appreciate everybody watching, and we got a big weekend coming up, and we can't wait. I can't wait to actually be able to talk about playoff games on Monday. I'm really excited about that.
Well, now we can talk about the Canucks Calgary, or we're not even gonna.
Oh no, we're gonna cover every shift of that on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then in the afternoon we're gonna run the show. The show's gonna start, and then we're gonna continue it right into.
Mike needs to tell us what the quote that what's his name, Coach Winnipeg said.
Yes, here is an indicator of how impactful the Leafs Jets game is tonight. Paul Maurice quote from Lance Hornby of the Toronto Sun. There is, this is going to sound terrible for hockey, a gentleman's agreement. I don't think you're going to see any late hits. Both teams are getting ready for the playoffs. There will be a certain amount of respect on the ice, meaning it's going to be a no-hitter. They're going to have a clock that's running without even during face-offs. It's going to take an hour for this game to get played. On top of that, David Alter of the Hockey News reports that Mitch Marner, who has been healthy in the lineup for 55 games, will sit tonight. The Leafs can't sit anybody else because they can't call up anybody else because they're up the cap.
So I have to say something here. If What's Funky's saying is true, and Craig Button says the Habs have no chance.
Yeah,
he's just playing up to the Toronto audience.
Yeah,
That's
he is.
all he's doing.
No. He's trolling the Toronto audience because he said the Leafs are going to sweep them in 4. So when the Leafs lose a game, which they will to the Habs,
so he's doing it that way.
Craig Button will beat them over the head with unmerciless.
Remember, there's nothing you can say worse than the Leafs are going to win.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's true in that regard. But of course, Montreal.
And he knows this. He knows it too. Obviously, he knows it. Now, Montreal has a chance. There's no question. I mean, we'll get into predicting this game, and there's no question that I'm picking Toronto. I'm not going to give you any but I think that Montreal's got a shot, for sure. And who knows? I mean, who knows? It's the playoffs. We always think every time we think of the playoffs this year. On first impact, look really easy to predict.
No, but they're never easy.
Every time I feel that way, there are just crazy things that happen every year.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to really say what it's going to be.
Never easy.
Never easy. Remember, folks, without the buzz, it is just hockey. We will see you all on Monday.